Do you want me to do a song?
I wouldn't recommend it.
You're not paying me for that, buddy.
I may as well start. Jace is not here, but we don't really need Jace, really. It's surprisingly dusty up there, considering the rain that we've had. I mean, literally, it was raining like hell when we left here. By the time the first stage wasn't too bad. By the time we got to stage 2, it was quite dusty. So, unfortunately, it is going to be dusty. But there's one place in particular I think it's going to be really bad, but I'll highlight that. So as long as you're aware of where this bad dust, and I think it's the kind of dust that it's just going to end up getting worse and worse, and it's just going to be like a wall of dust that you won't see through. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of that. I mean, the one thing of interest is for everybody, I suppose, is the first stage, because it's brand new for everybody. And I think it's fair to say that it's fast like hell for the majority. It's actually quite a nice stage. I think it's probably the kind of stage that you will enjoy more and more, but owing to how fast it is, it's, you know, you'll see the brave people or the committed people when how quick they are the first time through. But it's generally fast and flowing with a lot of very quick crests, and some where the line is important, which you will have seen from the DVD. I mean, okay, Mr. Patterson is not the keenest on describing the road accurately, but in most cases it's probably at least 1 or 2 gears higher mostly, but we're not going to alter anything. That's down for you guys to sort out when you're there. Now, there is some loose road repairs which you would have seen on the DVD, and these are in there. We've marked the tricky surface changes, and there's others that are visible we don't need to mention at all. It's a good base, hard base for the majority, with clean lines and good grip. But on the tarmac section, I would say you need to be quite careful, because although you're on gravel tyres, obviously you're not going to have the grip that you'd have on a gravel stage. If you end up getting any more than 8 inches into the grass, in a lot of cases, there's a lot of hard-packed, sharp-edged boulders and rocks smashed into the ground off on the edge. So if you do go wide, generally it will mean you'll have a puncture. So just bear that in mind. The notes we're using here is 6 fastest, 6 as fastest, and lower numbers as the slowest. So just for your reference. And I'll go through page by page, and any alterations, I'll tell you exactly where they are, and we'll match them up as best with the notes that you've got. So many of these, the first part of the gravel on this stage, you can use the inside of the corners generally a little bit. You know, there's nothing in there that I could see. The first instruction I want to add is on page 1 of that stage, on the last line. On the one right plus, which is the actual junction 3, that's got a loose exit. That's where the first of these surface changes starts, and generally you won't see it until you're exiting the corner. And the stones, for your information, are probably inch and a half, 2 inches, sort of roundish, squarish type of stuff. So it's not nice stuff. It's the kind of stuff that really the car could float on it. Next instruction, page 2, line 3. The braking into the junction turn square left, that's over quite a loose surface, so that is loose braking. Now, at the moment, that's quite a wide junction, and the bail is going to be made a lot narrower. It wasn't, when we travelled it wasn't necessarily a stay right. You basically go straight in, but you have to go around this bail, so that will be made a lot narrower and a lot slower. Then the next 4th line, 350 straight. I've got a 5 right long over flat crest, don't cut. That's where these stones really start coming into their own, so really stay out of the insides, and a lot of the quicker places stay out from the outside, but I'll show you that. Again, 130 6 right over flat crest, don't cut. That's quite a nasty stone inside that one. It is a don't cut, but I just want to highlight that for you. The chicane is on a crest. When you come up to it, you can see it. It's a fraction later than the notes actually describe, because he's got chicane, then 6 right into middle over crest. I would say that chicane is actually on the crest, but you will see it as you come up to it. And again, the 5 right, half long, again, there's some quite nasty stones inside there. Then line 3, the 5 left plus long, first instruction. That one, the stones are outside. I think owing to the speed and the entrance into that and the severity, the slight severity of that corner, means that you would possibly go, may go wide. So stones outside on that one. 350, 5 right plus long, again, stones inside, not nice. Then next line, first instruction, middle over small crest bump. That one's got a culvert on the inside, on the right. Jason highlighted that. He said, really, if you are, make sure you stay middle because of that culvert. Page 4, second line. Caution 6 right tightens over big crest jump and 5 right. On that 5 right, it's a loose exit. Then the next instruction, the 100 meter straight, the loose, it's over loose, so that loose continues. Then the next line, after the jump and dip into a 5 right, which is the last instruction on the third line, again, loose exit on that. Page 5, second instruction, 100 straight. It's loose braking into that 4 left. The next line, 130, 6 right long. Again, that's loose and loose exit. Then 300, crest bump, and then you go on to loose. And then down the 60 into the 5 left, that's kind of loose. Then the last instruction, virtually, 5 right into finish, it's 5 right over finish. I mean, it looked a little tricky when we drove up it initially, and when we drove it again, it wasn't too bad. There is actually a lay-by on the right-hand side. I think it'll be different come the rally, because there'll probably be a vehicle in there timing you or something, but it was almost looked like you had to go into the lay-by. But that's just, as long as you've got the 5 right over finish, Jay said that looked fine. I mean, as that stage is new, anybody got any questions they would like to know about that? Were you all happy? Route 60, we may as well start there. I mean, it's classic stages, it's always been. We're back to the old format, starting at Dixie's. A lot of the rocks inside are still there. That's exactly as it has been. Page 3 of that stage. The turn hairpin left. No, let's talk about the bridge in the dip. Let's talk about the bridge in the dip. I mean, Mr. Patterson has got a caution on it. Unlike using it the other way, where you come down this bank and you've got a compression, the compression point was right on the edge of about a 1.5 to 2 inch lip, which caused all the trouble. Going the other way, you're not going to have that. It's not going to be a problem. But because you enter that at such a speed, you're slamming into what is quite a steep uphill bank now. You haven't got a gradual climb. So for Jason, he said it's definitely not flat. and he would definitely be lifting. So I would just say be a bit careful, because the impact going into a steep uphill climb is quite bad. But then the turn hairpin left on line 3, he's got tight, don't cut. And the reason you don't cut, you could see a bank on the inside, but probably set about 14 inches off that bank is a rock that's protruding about 6 inches out of the ground. Now, as long as you've got reasonable ride height, you can just keep the line tight to the bank, and the inside wheel will easily cover it. You'll straddle the rock through over the centre of the car, but if you stayed out purposely, you could hit this rock quite easily. So you're either got to take it at least 2 foot out from the grass bank, or keep tight to the bank and just run over it with a sump guard. But you'll see it's literally standing about 6 inches. It's a big rounded boulder about 6 inches out of the ground. I think the bottom end of it's in New Zealand somewhere, I think. So your car will come off the worst if you hit it. Fourth line, last instruction, or the to right, you go on to loose on the to right, which is the nasty one with the big boulder inside, which a lot of people have hit the other way in the past. And then it's 50, get rid of that 80, make it 50 crest into to right. That's a more accurate note there, because you definitely can't see the to right because of the crest. Page 4 of that stage, last line. This is in a real high-speed commitment place. The 5 right has got a loose exit. That one is similar in many ways to the loose surfaces that you had in the first stage, but it's between 2 corners. But that is real high speed, just so you're aware of it. I don't think necessarily it'll cause you any problems, but it's just nice to know it's there and it doesn't scare you. Next is page 6. Second line, the to right opens, continues for 100. Unfortunately, if you know one of these little front-wheel drive cars, it's got horrible washboard going up there. So it's going to be all the way up there. It's really horrible washboard, just so you know. And just something of note for you guys. I mean, he's got, I know, middle over crest jump on the last page, but the 60 over finish, over crest jump, and then through the dip 150. I think that needs to come out together, because if the driver's, I mean, it's not going to be an issue, but just to warn you. Other than that, Route 60 was in great condition as always. It won't nothing untoward in there. Okay, there's quite a few bits and pieces I've taken out from here. We're in halfway now, stage 3. Page 1 of 8. 1, 2. Fourth line, second instruction, tight to left. That's got a loose exit again. Then page 2 of 8. First line, last instruction, 6 left long, past lay-by, is actually, through lay-by, is actually 6 left long past the lay-by. You don't actually go through it. Third line, last instruction, care, small crest long, over loose. That's loose, down into the 1 left. The next line, 1, 2, 3, fourth instruction, 2 right plus tightens. It says rough inside. It's not actually rough, it's actually bumps, really horrible bumps. And that particular one describes it much better. Then last instruction, 40, slippy continues. Take all that slippy out, that's gone. There's no slippy at all. It's quite a nice new surface just there. Then the turn on page 3, first line, the turn, hairpin right plus don't cut. Take slippy off that as well. Now, all the way down there in a little 1400 car, there's a lot of these really big cuts on the inside of corners. I think if you're in an R5 car, it's not too bad. If you're in one of these little cars with little suspension travel, I would stay out a little bit from these ditches. It looks lovely to get in there, but they really can unsettle the car quite badly. Okay, continuing on page 3. Second line, last instruction. Hairpin left plus opens, don't cut. Mr. Patterson's missed the stump that's on the inside of that corner. Page 4, third line. 80 up middle. Add a crest before the 3 left, because you can't see that 3 left because there's a crest immediately before it. Next line, third instruction, the slippy continues. Take that slippy out, it's not slippy anymore. What does that say? No, that's okay. You will have seen it off the DVD, I'm sure, but on page 6 of 8, first line, last instruction, care 5 right tightens over jump. That's onto tarmac, just for your information. Third line, first instruction, care left through narrow gate. So it does narrow up, but you've definitely got to keep to the left and through the gate. The cattle grid is all blocked off. After that, nothing else for that stage. Again, that stage is in pretty good condition, to be fair. Really nice condition. And I think you shouldn't have too much of a problem there. Let's start with Kraken then, page 1. I mean, the stage actually starts on the one left. It's right on the left, not a lot. On the DVD, fourth line, first instruction, 200, it's over loose. And then the next instruction, care 5 left, don't cut, and logs outside. All those logs are still there as per the DVD. I mean, you'd be tempted, it doesn't look much on the inside because there's some wispy fern, but there are some series of logs just off on the edge. So, you know, it's the kind of thing that it's the place you'd want to take flat, but you can't use all the road because you're going to end up in trouble, and the logs on the outside certainly will destroy your car for you. Okay, page 2 of that stage. Second line, the long right-hander that continues to the square right. There was drop outside. It's a really bad drop. That's what a Patterson would normally call the fresh air, but it is going to be taped for you. So, you know, and Jason and myself built a kind of a brushwood kind of edge to it, so you can see where the square corner is. Line 4, second instruction, 2 right long opens. Brian's got logs inside. It's actually logs inside late. It's really late in that corner. Last line, the 100-yard straight. After the 4 right long, and leftish over crest 80. Again, there's a definite crest which you have to take a line on. That was not in the notes. Now we're going to page 4 of that stage. Third instruction, unseen hairpin left. That's loose. Again, normal loose that we found. And on the last instruction, care deceptive 1 left plus. That's bad loose inside, and that's really quite a lot. And I think everybody will be going in there And you can guarantee that with the passage of cars, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And by the time the four-wheel drive cars go through for the second run, I'm sure that could be a bit of a minefield of rocks, I'm sure. Page 5, fourth line, second instruction. 5 right, it's got a don't cut on there. I don't know why he's got a don't cut. There's nothing there at all. Not that you'd cut up a bank and into some fern, so there's no need to call that. There's nothing there. Last line, up middle 130, 2 right. This has caught a lot of people out in the past, and it's actually quite nasty bad camber. There is the very slightest of long crest going into it, but just call bad camber there, because if you do come in a bit hot, the camber's just going to take you off onto the outside, and then you're in the ditch. Okay, page 6. Second line, fourth instruction, 6 right long over crest, or 6 right long. That corner is actually over a crest. So you can add that. Last line, second instruction, it actually goes 2 right long and 1 left. That 1 left, again, it's one of these nasty, bumpy ditches on the inside. You'd be tempted to go in there. I would say just stay out and stay out from the inside that corner. That's going to launch you out from there. Not that you're carrying that much speed. Page 7, third line, first instruction, turn hairpin left. Now you're now going into effectively an avenue of trees, and it's a really narrow road. This from junction 6 to junction 7, I'm sure, is where this really bad dust is going to be. So there's a couple of nasty places down there. So just be aware of it and perhaps plan for the worst and hope for the best, really. But I would say just that's where it's going to be quite tricky. Now in these notes, it's not highlighted that well. But again, the last instruction of line 3, 2 left into square left, I'd really read that all as one, because that and almost seems to be, it's like a long corner that just tightens into the square left, and that's not nice. So make sure you read all that together. Now we move some stones on the inside of a corner, so that's going to help it for you. Another one that could be a little tricky, it's all depending on how hot you're pushing. On page 9, the very last instruction, Brian's got a care 40, then over the page 2 left opens. That again, that comes up quite quick, so just read those two together. If I were you, make a point of highlight that and read those two together. Again, the road surfaces in there is very nice, very consistent generally, and smooth as you would like. So I think it's all looking good, really. Just fingers crossed on the dust. That's all from me, actually. Is there any more for any more? Anybody got any questions? Or no? Down the pub? Down the pub it is, then. I wish you the best of luck, guys. Thanks for coming this evening. I hope that's going to help you. All the best.